After the massive success that was Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4, the next game would have massive shoes to fill. You could even say,
with great power comes great responsibility.
Most people thought that would be the new Spider-Man game that comes out now in October. However, what we got was unexpected in my eyes, as Insomniac announced Spider-Man Miles Morales, a sort of standalone DLC that would tie us over until the new game comes out. So, did Miles manage to fill the Peter-sized shoes, or would my excitement for the new game dwindle after playing this? Well, let's find out, and as always, beware of spoilers ahead. If you don't know, this game was developed by Insomniac Games and released in 2020 for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. It follows Miles Morales after the events of the first game, as he has become the original Spider-Man's apprentice. We start in media res, going on an escort mission for a police convoy transporting inmates from the first game back to prison. It quickly goes wrong and we end up chasing down and escaping Rhino. Here, we get our first trophy. We miss out on a trophy, and we're introduced to the special powers Miles possesses in the form of electricity. We hear that Roxxon is planning on introducing a form of new power source that will power Harlem and later expand to power the entire world with clean energy, which I'm sure is not shady in any way, shape or form, and that they are a completely ethical and good guy company. Totally. The story then makes Miles stand on his own 2 feet as Peter is traveling abroad together with MJ. But not before gifting us a trophy on his way out. Soon, we're introduced to the sort of bad guys in the underground, introduced to our psychic Genki, introduced to our childhood friend Finn, introduced to some family drama, and off we go. I won't go into too much more story detail right now, but the story trophies started to roll in.
That could have gone better.
Now, a big disclaimer. I will talk about the story as a whole right now, and I will outline plot points and story beats from the end of the game, and maybe spoil some characters and their motives. Consider this your spoiler warning. Skip to the time that is on the screen right now, or press the chapter marking in the description to skip over this part if you haven't played the story yet or care about spoilers. Now, overall, I would say that the story was good. It was pretty good actually. It was fun seeing the beginning of a superhero career as Miles really evolves and finds his own during the story. To being pushed around by those around him and influenced into making decisions that isn't really what his heart wants, to later in the game where he takes his own decisions and start doing the right thing. Although it ended up being a little too late in his case. It's fun to see Miles struggle with having a secret identity and try not to push his friends and family away. Although he is really bad at keeping his identity secret. Like honestly, just in about 4-hour long story campaign, he reveals his identity willingly 3 times and involuntarily to his entire neighborhood. Also, one problem I have with the story is that it leans into my absolute least favorite superhero story trope. People getting mad that they don't disclose the fact that they are a superhero. Like honestly, 50% of the drama in this game could have been avoided if Finn just took 5 seconds to actually listen to Miles. Yes, he didn't exactly do things in the most elegant ways, but he tried and spent the entire second half of the game trying to apologize. Finn could have still been alive had she not been blinded by anger and resentment. The final climax of the game just felt unnecessary, and I got sort of pulled out of the story as a result of some of the writing of the relationship between them. Some parts are really good, other parts just felt forced, second half especially. With that being said, the big set pieces in the game felt grand in the context of the game, I especially like the feeling of urgency in chasing down Finn and Roxxon. Also, I found it really funny that whenever you manage to predict the big twist in the story, like Finn being the Tinkerer or proudly working for Roxxon, the game knows you have figured it out, and that becomes the next plot point in the story, making me as a consumer both feeling smart and satisfied at the same time that I managed to figure it out. I think I've said all I had to say about the story at this point. It's not the best story out there, but it is serviceable. Alright, hello all my spoiler-free friends. Final note of the story of the game is that all in all, I'm really excited to see Miles again in the new Spider-Man game coming out, to see how his story progresses after this one. Even though we are 11 trophies in and one page of the script is done, we still haven't gone over the roadmap for this journey. This journey at least doesn't consist of any missable trophies. Unfortunately, we do have the needed new game plus for at least 3 trophies. 4, since I missed a trophy here in the beginning section of the game. Just hoping that the new game plus adds something extra to the game, but not holding out hope. I'm not generally a big fan for second playthroughs, that doesn't alter the game in some way, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Also, 2 trophies are mapped as bugged, so I hope that it won't affect me too much. Back in the game, we did our first combat spider training mission that Peter had set up throughout the city, and we did fairly well on that one. We then crafted our first suit mod and visor mod. And followed up by doing the 2 other types of training challenges, the traversal and stealth training missions.
Spectacular? Yeah, gonna say that one. I tip my spider hat to you, sir.
On the stealth mission, I tried to get the ultimate rank, but I could not for the life of me manage to do the mission fast enough. I tried again, and again, and again, but it was always just a few seconds too short. This grind quickly got me the trophy for doing 100 stealth takedowns. Not planned, but I welcomed the surprise nonetheless.
Don't think he saw me.
Stealth in this game is more the same from the first game, though with a slight regression, as we don't have access to as many gadgets in this game. Again, this is harkening back to Miles being a new Spider-Man, though I do feel that adding a few more gadgets would have made the game more fun, both in stealth and in combat. 4 is just a couple too few in my opinion. Adding the ability to become invisible certainly adds a new wrinkle to the stealth, as we could now be a bit more aggressive without properly alerting the guards. This also meant that we could slip out of a tricky situation if need be. It also made approaching enemies on the ground a more feasible option, and I could do a lot of ground takedowns as a result of the invisibility. I remember having a lot of fun with the stealth in the last game, and I am a big fan of stealth gameplay in general. And even with the ability to go invisible here, having so few gadgets to play around with overall hampered my enjoyment of the stealth in this game. The thing that sets Miles apart from the older counterpart is his electric ability known as Venom powers. Throughout the game you gradually unlock more and more abilities, making the combat system more robust the further you get into it. There's also a few trophies associated with utilizing these powers in different ways. It could for instance be to send a man flying using a Venom jump followed by a Venom dash. Could be by playing bowling using the Venom Dash ability, or simply just defeating 100 enemies using these powers. Speaking of using the Venom attacks, you can try them out yourself and manage to catch this secret Roxxon agent. You thought it could disguise itself as a subscribe button, but I know better, so go on and Venom punch that button into oblivion. You managed to carry it? Good. Now we can get back to some more trophies. This game borrows the same open world system from the first Spider-Man game, which means that it has a lot of collectibles and a lot of enemy bases to take down. One of the first things I decided to do was to take down a base without being spotted.
There. Now to find the jammer.
And doing the enemy bases need a lot of stealth in order to not die all the time, which also quickly got me the trophy for 50 enemies defeated while being camouflaged. Also, while I was out exploring the city and getting some collectibles, suddenly got a trophy for riding a derelict boat that had one of the time capsules collectibles attached to it. Again, sometimes you just get lucky with these trophies. As I did the various crime and base activities, I focused on getting the trophy for taking down 50 enemies using the remote mine gadget, doing 25 wall takedowns,
That's funny. Weird.
and finally doing 25 ceiling takedowns. Activities doesn't just include collectibles and bases in this game. No. We also have our fair share of side quests to do in this game. One of them is a chain of side quests that involves stopping and tracking down a group of thugs terrorizing Miles' home district in Harlem. I won't go into too much detail, but the whole thing ends in a big brawl in a big park area. Seeing as I realized that we would have to fight tons of enemies here, and that they were for the most part normal thugs and not special units that I often encounter when fighting Roxxon or underground enemies that could quickly put an end to a big combo, I decided to go for the 100 combo trophy, which turns out to be the biggest struggle I encountered in this entire platinum journey. I think I spent close to an hour and a half trying to get this trophy, and it really highlighted a big flaw I have with this combat system versus a similar combat system that is found in Batman Arkham City, for instance. In that game, if 2 or 3 enemies attacked you at once, you could counter all of them at the same time, and it looked cool and awesome. Here, 2 or more enemies decide to attack at the same time, you can only really dodge one of them. So if the second one is coming at you from an angle that is in the path that you are dodging, then tough luck, the combo was broken, restart checkpoint and try again. Also, so many enemies have a counter-attacking move. So if you tilt your stick a little too much in one direction and attack an enemy you weren't planning on attacking, and it happens to be an enemy that holds a baton, then I hope you have good reflexes, because that enemy will counterattack you in half a second and break your combo. Then it's restart checkpoint and try again. It also doesn't help that the dodge symbol is either a grey or red half circle above their head. The red especially blends perfectly into all rocks on enemies and a lot of particle effects from different weapons. So there were multiple times I didn't even see an attack coming until it hit me and I had to start over. I really did not have fun going for this trophy, and trying to perfect the combat system and getting long combos just isn't what this combat system is made for. It is made for being aggressive and using your abilities to deal massive damage, and also you charge your venom attacks by dealing damage, not getting combos. The game isn't really made for getting 100 times combo. Now, I really wish I could show you all the things I'm talking about here, all the struggles, all the hardship that this trophy gave me. But wouldn't you know, my footage got corrupted about half an hour into the recording session. So all the footage I have is a still frame of Spider-Man, while the audio tells the story of how I fought enemies and got the combo needed for the trophy. It was really unfortunate, and
Gonna cry?
yes, Willie Maguire, I wanted to cry. Nevertheless, the trophy was mine eventually. Also, beating all those thugs was the last thing needed to finish that side quest chain and get another trophy. The game was now nearing its end, and all I really had left to do was cleaning off the collectibles and combat related activities around the city. So it's time to do my traditional trophy montage of various side activities. And it starts with the fact that I finally got around to finishing all of Pete's basic training courses.
Want to make a big entrance? Here's a secret. Put a little mustard on your takedowns.
I had encountered all the different crimes around the city, and I got all the bonus objectives in them.
That's all of them. You can come out.
I had managed to take down all of rock zones and underground slabs. I had stolen all the tech parts from the underground caches. I had sampled all the funky sounds New York has to offer.
Fairy horns. That's right.
And I got all of the time capsules depicting simpler times in Miles' life.
Nice.
Doing all these activities net me a lot of activity and tech tokens, which I then turned into suits and upgrades for my gadgets. I ended up having finally upgraded my gadgets 10 times for another trophy. All that was left now was to complete Pete's final test to finish off my Spider-Man training. A fight with his first villain, Vulture, as a hologram with Pete doing the voice lines. A hilarious and honestly great boss battle ensued. And when he was beaten, the final activity trophy for now was mine.
That was some great training. Kudos to...
Before deciding to finish the game properly, I took the trip to Upper West Side to give my respects to the legend that allowed me to play this game today.
Hero right here.
And to make sure I would remember this moment forever, I took a selfie, applied a sticker, changed the lighting to make it insta-friendly, and got rewarded with a nice trophy. One more legend I had to visit was the grave for one Jefferson Davis in Harlem. Took some time finding the grave, but I found it and got a trophy for my trouble.
Miss you, Dad.
All that was left now was to stop the underground and rock zone once and for all. Save Harlem and finish the game. At one point during the final quest, we get a flashback sequence with Finn. Here we can partake in a minigame, and my mashing skills finally came to good use as it helped me mash my way to a trophy for beating her at a rocket minigame.
Gotcha. Found something I'm better at than you.
Not for long.
After that was done
Here you go, Mr.
and the
Jameson.
main game finished, a few more side quests unlocked in the post. First and foremost, I have one final FNSM request, or Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man app request, left. To pick up the thank you present left by the neighborhood. A wonderful new suit and a wonderful new trophy as well. The collectible that unlocks in the post game is the postcard scavenger hunt. And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that this made me tear up. Miles gets to hear recordings his father made last year for use in his birthday scavenger hunt. It was wonderful and heartfelt and a perfect ending to the game. Picking up the final postcard also meant that I had now 100% in all the different districts in the game for a gold trophy this time around.
Hey, Miles, what's up?
Hey, Mom. I just finished the scavenger hunt. Thank you so much for putting it together. For a little while.
New Game Plus is unfortunately soon upon us, but before we leave this first playthrough, it's time to do my favorite pastime hobby, scrolling social media mindlessly. 5 trophies remaining, and one of them is the platinum. It's time for the final push. Let's go. I quickly started off by spending my activity tokens on the final suit that unlocks when you start New Game Plus. And this time I also made sure to crash into as many things as I could whilst riding Rhino throughout the city for the Like a Rhino in a China Shop trophy. A few more missions into the game and I had leveled up enough times to be able to afford the last 3 skills that unlocks once you start New Game Plus, and the trophy for getting all skills was mine. Now, all I was left was to rush through all the main missions yet again, see the exact same cutscenes I had just seen, and have way easier fighting sequences, as I had lowered the difficulty so I could more easily be done with the game. If you couldn't tell, I'm really not a fan of these unnecessary forced New Game Plus playthroughs. They don't add anything, and having to play them to get the platinum is just not fun. And nothing against the New Game Plus mode. Heck, I like to play them a couple years later myself. But that's when I want to play the game again. Having all unlocks and suits could be fun and make the game worth visiting again. But when I'm forced to start it immediately after the credits are done running, then it's just not worth it in my opinion. It also doesn't help that there's no branching storylines here. There's no alternate ways of doing mission, it's the same formula. Just a big waste of time. Luckily, I have plenty of podcasts to listen to this time around, so the time flew by. I can really recommend No Such Thing as a Fish if you're a fan of fun facts, great British comedy, and smart people talking about things that interest you. With that recommendation out of the way, we are narrowing down here. One final boss fight, one mid-credit cutscene teasing the next game, and a post-credit cutscene wrapping up the story, and the plus trophy was in my hands. And I could live up to the mantle of
Hey, Mom,
be
you busy?
Not too
yourself.
busy. What's going on?
I just left Trinity Church.
A pretty good game comes to an end. While it's not as refined and good as the first Spider-Man game, I still have plenty of fun with Spider-Man Miles Morales. It makes sense that it isn't as grand as that game, as like I mentioned earlier, this game feels like standalone DLC. It is a nice extra story to tie us over until Spider-Man 2 comes out now in October. It met all the expectations I had, though I would have wanted a bit more gadgets to play with in order to make combat stay fresh, and some enemy types were just really annoying, interrupting the flow of the combat when in massive groups. The latter being fixed by being more aggressive with venom powers, as that was usually a one-way ticket to victory. It is a fun game that made me excited to see Miles again. Therefore, this game gets an overall rating of 7 out of 10. When it comes to completion, it is a very easy platinum. Easy collectibles, no difficulty spikes, and some fun extra combat challenges. With that being said, the forced New Game Plus run just killed my enjoyment towards the end. It was 4 unnecessary hours spent playing the same game over again. And for that, a few points needs to be deducted. Therefore, and this might sound harsh to some of you, the final completion rating turns out to be, for me, a 6 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you want to see what I felt about the first Spider-Man game in this series, you can press the video on the screen right now. Next time I will be back with a wheel, so I hope you're all excited for that one. Anyway, take care, remember I love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye. Thank you.